So in this movie, what we can realize or what we can take away from that threat system is that our limbic system, when we are engaging in fear, what we can take from those different scenarios is that our limbic system and our threat system is being engaged. And so our limbic system is responsible for your rewards, your emotions, your memory, right? Your learning. So I'm not going to talk about all the different parts that are involved in the limbic system, but I want you to remember the thalamus. I want you to remember the amygdala. I want you to remember the hippocampus and the hypothalamus. So I'll explain. Your thalamus is responsible for taking in all of your senses, all five senses, the things that you're experiencing in the world. Your thalamus takes in that information. It then sends it down to your amygdala. I call her Amy for short. Amy gets that information. She looks at it, and she is responsible for your emotional reactivity. So she looks at it and says, either she'll say, yes, this is a threat, or no, this is not a threat. But she doesn't want to misread, so she sends the information to her assistant. I call her Miss Hippo. She's your hippocampus. Aptly named because she has a large filing cabinet of all of your memories. So hippocampus, Miss Hippo looks through the files, and she's trying to determine, have we experienced this before? And if she says, yes, but no danger, cool, like keep going with your life. But if she even remotely recognizes a sense of threat, whether it was real or perceived, a real or a perceived threat, she says, oh my gosh, Amy, we are in danger. So she sends the file back to Amy. Amy sounds the alarm. We're in danger. Real or perceived. Amy then sends the signal down to your hype man. He's hypothalamus, right? I call him DJ Hype. So your hypothalamus hypes you up. He pumps you with adrenaline and that stress cortisol, getting you ready to either do Creed 2, like Michael B. Jordan, you're either going to fight that thing out, or you are going to run. Now, all while that is happening, the information is also sent to your prefrontal cortex, which is closely connected. Now, your prefrontal cortex is your executive functioning part of your brain. It thinks more rational. What it does is it looks at that information and it either confirms, yes, this is a threat, keep the process going, or your prefrontal cortex says, guys, chill out. It's no big deal, chill out. And then it'll cease, the process will cease if you have a properly functioning limbic system. So to make this more clear, if a bear was to walk into this room, your thalamus will see the bear and say, that looks like a threat. And it'll send the information down to your amygdala and your hippocampus. They'll confirm. Hype man hypes you up, gets you ready to either fight the bear or run from it. And then you are ready to take action. But then your prefrontal cortex gets the information and says, oh, it's a mascot. So then that whole system, everything that was just getting started to get you ready to fight or run, it says, oh, we're good. Just go take a selfie with it. We're okay. One of the things that I wanted to express to you all is that you can truly be fearful of love. Every experience that we have is filed away and it's pulled for future references. But what happens if you file a memory incorrectly, especially as it relates to a threat? In the movie that I started with, the lady who was fearful of love, somewhere in her memory bank, there was a storage of information that said connectivity is connected and associated with fear and maltreatment. And the only way that her brain could have gathered that information and stored it in such a way was to have in the past reached out and tried to connect with other people, and that reach was met with hurt. So remember, our brains are wired to protect us and for survival. So what do we do if we think something is even tampering with our survival? We fight it or we run from it. Yes, it's possible to be fearful of love, especially if you have never experienced true, authentic love. Why? Because things that are unfamiliar can be very frightening. Now, there are different types of love, right? You have have the relationship love, the romantic,